Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Screaming for Progress. I'm your host as always, Stuart Lang, alongside me, my ever-present colleague Liam Morrow. Liam, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm alright. I've still got this fucking horrible cold that everyone's got. So if I disappear, my voice is probably gone, so that'll be why.
Well, that's good to know. If you end up with only me, then at least we have an explanation for that. Obviously, if you want to catch up with the show, plenty of places to do so. We're on Wrestling to the Max, we're on Radulich and Broadcasting Network, we're on the new FPG News page, everywhere. If you want to catch us on Twitter as well, it's Progress Scream on Twitter. I'm Out After Dark 216, and he's the Grim Fish. Plenty of places. I did mention FPG News as a co-venture. It's restarting with live Royal Rumble coverage. So search on Facebook, FPG News. You'll find us. Go to fpgnews.com as well. Live Royal Rumble coverage as well as upcoming podcasts, news, reports, all that sort of thing. So yeah, very excited about that relaunching. So get involved. And yeah, let me know that you do. Let me know what you think. Constructive feedback is definitely appreciated. And if you go and look at the site, you think there's something that could be done better, let me know. And like I say, that's Out After Dark 216 on Twitter if you want to do that. Much appreciated. But we're not here to talk about any of that. We're here to talk about Progress, Chapter 61, entitled Don't Touch Me, Don't Touch Me. Bit of an inappropriate name, I think, given the current wrestling climate.
Yeah.
Don't really want to talk too much about that, to be honest, but considering there's been major card changes for Progress, WWE, yeah, I think it's a bit unfortunate. Sorry, I shouldn't really laugh about it, but yeah.
So, I think we'll just smooth over that a bit.
We'll smooth over it, we'll style that one out and start talking from the top of the show. We had Mark Andrews appear, and yeah, before that, we had friend of the show getting a shout out, Charlie Thomas, follower of the show, follow myself and Liam on Twitter. Good to see her get a little shout out, including one of her friends at the start of the show. And yeah, Charlie, if you're listening, good to see you on there, and we'll hopefully, we'll hopefully see you at Wembley. It'll be our round, technically. So, yeah. Yeah, we had Mark Andrews come out at the start of the show. He was scheduled to compete and couldn't because he was injured. Fair enough, I suppose. It did continue the Eddie Dennis angle with him, challenged him to a fight, played off the history, explained the history between the two to people who may be new fans. They go back to basically the start of Progress. And yeah, a pretty good bit of angle. Obviously, Andrews wasn't cleared to do anything too physical. Dennis came off as a dick, spat in his face and stuff. I have to admit, heel Dennis is a lot better than face Dennis. And this did its job. Yeah. What were you going to say there, sir?
No, it's just like he's got more of an edge to him now. And he looks, in the ring, he looks more dangerous, but he looks more capable,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think it definitely works better as a face. I mean, I think he's, I think he's got a bit of edge. I think he should be a heel. I think that's the most interesting way to present the guy. And I think when they eventually get the payoff to this Andrews and Dennis angle, I think it's going to be huge. So, maybe this was a blessing in disguise. You have to think if Andrews wasn't injured, that they'd have had Dennis come out and interfere in some way in that match. It's turning into a pretty good little feud that they've got going here. So good start to the show, I think. If you have to start with an angle, make it a good one.
Yeah.
So first up, opening the show in terms of matches, we had the Grizzled Young Veterans defending their tag team championships against Moustache Mountain, Tyler Bate and Trent Seven. So as with any Moustache Mountain match, we had about 25 minutes of fucking around beforehand. Trent Seven getting a phone call from Triple H. There was, it's always the same. It's kind of getting a little bit one note now. Telling James Drake that they're colleagues, see them at the Christmas party, Gibson not being invited, all that sort of thing, and yeah, it's fine, it's okay. I think a lot of people enjoyed it a lot more than I did. What do you think? What was your opinion of it as a match as well?
I mean, yeah, the Trent Seven thing is getting a bit old. But as a match, I thought it was actually quite decent. Obviously, we can't have a Grizzled Young Veterans match without some sort of shenanigans. But yeah, they all sort of showed off what they can do again. Didn't see too much from Trent or Tyler Bate, actually, for that matter. It seemed to be they were on the back foot for a lot of it.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was a good outing for Drake and Gibson. I think there's probably a few people aren't really taking them that seriously as champions. And actually, I think the sort of wins over Moustache Mountain are helping. I know they were made to kind of look like fools at Unboxing Live. That they sort of pinned each other and stuff like that. But this was a good recovery. I think that there was a couple of little bits of sort of comedy involved, where they were Tyler was rolling James Drake as Gibson was going to jump off the turnbuckle at him and stuff, sort of going for the Dudley Boys headbutt. And I do like that kind of thing. I know it's Moustache Mountain's kind of deal that they have that sort of banter. But yeah, I liked seeing Drake and Gibson get the win. I liked to see them getting a decent victory on a good show here. So yeah, thumbs up. It wasn't the best match on the card by any means. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good fun, good defense. So yeah. Next up, we had Chris Ridgway, who was meant to be facing Mark Andrews, taking on his replacement, Drew Parker, who we saw at Unboxing. Again, we saw him take on Havoc and Haskins alongside Clint Mardera at Unboxing. So I believe this is his first singles appearance in Progress for Drew Parker.
It is.
This match didn't click with me. I didn't find it very interesting. I like Drew Parker's deathmatch stuff. I think it was a bit one note, I hate to say. I've seen a couple of places reviewing this pretty well, giving it sort of 3 to 4 stars. I think it was a solid 2 at best, really. Parker got the upset win. Chris Ridgway, I think, is still without a win in Progress, which is mental because he could be a guy that's huge for them. Yeah, I don't know if you can put any better spin on this than I can.
Well, as far as I can tell, this match was... It's supposed to be with Mark Andrews. He's injured. Before that, it was supposed to be Ridgway against Chris Brookes. Yeah. Which, obviously, that doesn't happen because Brookes is in action later on.
Yeah.
So I think Drew Parker was a extreme last-minute replacement.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, he actually lives quite close to the arena.
Yeah.
So maybe it was literally they got him last minute and they just cobbled something together sort of backstage in 20 minutes or whatever. Yeah. If you consider that, then it actually wasn't too bad. But yeah, I'd say it was not the highlight of the show by any means, but it was, for what it was all right.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's a better review of it than I gave. Yeah, don't get me wrong, nothing against either of these guys. I think they're both good, and I think that's maybe why I was sort of upset is that I think that they're probably both better than what we got. But yeah, like I say, no planning, last minute change. Okay, that's fair enough. But yeah, so it was what it was, really. Yeah, so what did we have next? Sorry, I just had my door open there. Bea Priestley, Nina Samuels taking on the team of Charlie Evans and Millie McKenzie. Well, you covered this one, Liam. I wasn't sold on this at all, to be honest.
No. Well, this was something that was set up after what happened live at the Dome. Basically, Nina Samuels and Priestley sort of interfered in each other's matches, and so this was a bit of bad blood. But yeah, I was expecting it to be so much better than what actually we got, which was quite tame. I can't think of any one thing that stands out in the match.
Yeah.
No, I can't even remember how it finished, to be honest.
Well, Millie pinned Nina. That's actually really difficult to say. It's a bit of a tongue twister. With the Coventry Destroyer. I mean, I think
that's it. Yeah.
It's kind of strange. There was a point where Millie was kind of booked towards the end like Brock Lesnar, despite the fact that she's a I'm not saying she couldn't kick my ass, like, don't get me wrong, but she's a tiny little girl. And, she's jumping in, chucking people around left, right and centre, like, suplex city bitch. She should have a t-shirt that says that. Probably a copyright. Anyway.
Yeah, probably.
She's actually, it's been announced that she's next up at the Women's Championship because Ginny got injured. So, on Sunday...
she broke her hand, didn't she?
Yeah, so Chapter 62, we're getting Millie taking on Toni Storm for the title. I know that I've been banging on about taking the title off of Toni Storm, but I just don't want to see Millie McKenzie be the person that does it.
Not as a sort of replacement for who was originally there, no.
Yeah. Like I say, nothing against anyone in this match. It just, again, didn't click with me. I mean, the first half of the show at this point, I wasn't particularly enthralled at this point. I was a bit kind of, towards the end of 2017, there was a couple of shows in a row that just weren't very good. It was actually in our sort of hiatus where we sort of just couldn't be motivated to watch them, let alone cover them. It was sort of that. I was like, oh, here we go again. Thankfully, the rest of the show did pick up. Next up we had an actual UK Championship, WWE UK Championship match between Pete Dunne and Joesph Conners. Now, Conners he's a strange one, isn't he? Like, the way he was booked, if you take it all the way back to the UK Championship, through how he's been presented in every promotion that he's been part of since, the guy's been presented as a killer. Like, in the UK Championship, he was arguably the number 2 heel other than Pete Dunne. He's been presented as almost a smarter heel than Pete Dunne in Progress. He was always had Pete Dunne's number. He took him out a couple of times, and just people don't care. And like, the problem with the WWE UK Championship being defended on indie shows is that I don't think it's going to change hands on one. I didn't realise this was for the title until the end of the match, when the announcer said that he was still champion. I get the feeling it's just, they need to be promoting it on WWE before I start buying into near falls in these things. Conners is still floundering. Like, he didn't get a win here, so what's the point in him? Like, it was. I actually thought it was a really good fun match, but there was no there was no drama to it. And Conners is still just like, what does he do now?
Well, yeah, that's kind of the question. I mean, like you said, I sort of touched on it the last show. If it's not on WWE, the title is not changing hands. They're just not going to allow that. But as good as of a match it was, it takes away from it. It was, Pete Dunne his normal sort of bruiserweight self biting and whatever. Didn't throw Joesph Conners into the security guards this time, which I was quite disappointed with. And just Conners, you just can't. I can't buy into him as sort of a legitimate contender for the title.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna change hands to anyone who's not already part of sort of WWE or the fringes, like your Trent Sevens, Mark Andrews sort of thing.
See,
I think the next champion, if it's not Trent Seven, will be Jack Gallagher, because he's already sort of established.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually.
And I'd like to see that as well. But I think failing that, he's having it for quite a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Joesph Conners' WWE status is. I mean, he was obviously part of the inaugural championship tournament, but I don't know if we've seen him on like NXT or anything since. So
no, he's not been on anything.
He's not like James Drake, who popped up on 205 Live that time. As part of the Enzo train, which is derailed, thankfully. Yep. Anyway, skirt over that as well. I don't know. Connors just hasn't clicked. I like I say, don't know what he does next. Hopefully he stays around in Progress, gets a few wins under his belt, and I don't wish him ill. I think he's got all the tools. It's just people, and I mean this in the broadest sense possible, just aren't interested in him, and it's a shame. Hopefully that changes and we get a new heel, because Progress needs new top line people at this point. Like we're getting to the stage where I'm thinking, like, who's still going to be there when Wembley rolls round? Who's still going to be there? And you look at all the guys who they're bringing in. The next two matches are perfect examples of this. You've got two guys you've got three guys technically. You've got a tag team and a singles competitor, who were all presented like, legit threats, like really sort of quality guys, but they're all Australian, so surely they're on like 2-year visas, yeah? They're all on 2-year working visas. Also, what's Travis Banks' visa situation? South Pacific power couple, like, I believe they are back. I believe they got an extension to theirs, so I think they're now on a 5-year visa, so that's good, so we can deal with them being here. But like, what's happening with these guys?
I think Banks he's been here long enough that he's got a citizenship. I'm not entirely sure about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they should just all marry British women for the sake of the sport.
I'm sure there'd be a few takers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's plenty of women in the locker room. Just pay her off, like it just the green card weddings. Like, it's fine. You don't need to consummate it. I'm not saying it has to be like.
Yeah, I can't see Ginny marrying Mark Davis for some reason.
Well, like I say, it's just be an odd couple. Be an odd couple. I'd watch that, like a Progress Total Divas. Yeah, that'd be great. What have we got next? Yes, we have Will Ospreay taking on Adam Brookes. Now, a lot of people didn't know who Adam Brookes is. He is an Australian fella. Him and Will Ospreay have got a ton of history down under, and this was a really good fun match. It was proper flippy dippy shit, which I quite like sometimes. Adam Brookes looked good. Ospreay did his usual kind of resilient underdog kind of thing, and then came back, won with the Oz cutter, hit that big 450 that he does, and yeah, I thought this was good fun. I think it was maybe a bit too long. I think if they cut 5 minutes off of this, I think this would have been an extra sort of star in quality. But yeah, a big win for Will Ospreay as well, and I guess he's not like gone from progress anymore, considering that's 3 shows in a row we've seen him. But yeah, good fun match. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, same. It was, you know, when you get Will Ospreay in the ring, you know exactly what you're going to see. You know, and Adam Brookes, I've not seen him before. Didn't know of him until this, but yeah, they sort of explained their history a bit, and yeah, they went sort of full pelt on each other. I liked that he brought his IWGP Junior Heavyweight title with him. Obviously, it's a big thing in Japan when sort of a foreigner gets a title. So yeah, obviously he's very proud of that. And yeah, other than that, it was possibly my match of the night.
Okay, that's interesting. Because I did say to you that I would struggle with my match of the night. I think there was probably three that could have been my match of the night. And I actually, on thinking about it, I'm giving it to the next match, which was Aussie Open taking on Jimmy Havoc and Mark Haskins. I thought this was phenomenal. I think this is one of the best tag matches I've seen since the probably DIY versus Authors of Pain matches. I would say. I think this was phenomenal. This was such a good match. Like, I like the fact that Vicky didn't get involved too much. I like the fact that, you know, there was no real sort of tag formula to it. Like, it didn't follow the obvious real, like, face in peril, hot tag, mental end. Like, I thought it worked well throughout. And I was biting on near falls by the end. And that to me is so, I'm so jaded with so much wrestling at the moment that when they're getting me to bite on near falls, like, that's when I know that this is good. And yeah, I thought this was my match of the night. I think this is probably the best match that Havoc and Haskins have had, with the sort of the exception. I don't think they did the implant well at the end, like their sort of reverse tombstone kind of thing. Like, other than that, yeah, I thought this was phenomenal. Do you want to talk about the match, or do you want to talk about Vicky Haskins, or?
As much as I'd like to talk about Vicky, yeah, I'll stick to the match, and yeah, I thought it was pretty good as well. I like Aussie Open. I like Kyle Fletcher. He's one of these sort of new ones, like sort of Connor Mills and Maverick Mayhew. Like, they're not all sort of muscle bound meatheads like you used to get. They're sort of a new breed of wrestler. And Mark Davis is, I'd love to see him against Walter for the Atlas title. I think that would be an amazing match. His sort of one-handed powerbomb he does, I've seen him do it a few times now, and it still just amazes me how he can lift someone with one arm like that. I can't get over it. Like, that the pump handle driver thing that he does as well. Like, it's just like fucking hell. There was a bit of repetition between a few matches at this point as well. Like, there's the same kind of weird, almost like Canadian Destroyer pile driver thing. I think this was like the 4th match that used it or something. I did notice that. That's my only real nitpick to this match. I mean,
I don't really like to get into star ratings or stuff, but this was easily a 4.5 for me. I thought it was just phenomenal. I enjoyed every minute of it. So yeah, I see people criticise me for being too negative sometimes. There you go. Yeah, so that's kind of that. So we've got the clash of CCK coming up next. Final match of the night, main event of the evening, was for the Progress World Championship. We had Travis Banks taking on Chris Brookes, who's accompanied by the injured Kid Lykos. It was a weird dynamic, this match. We had Brookes kind of working heel, despite the fact that the crowd loved to cheer for CCK. We had Lykos kind of not involved until he was really involved, and then TK Cooper was involved. It was good. Like it was a really sort of decent match. I think the two of them showed some great stuff. Like there's one moment where I think Travis tried to do like a sunset flip to the outside to Brookes, and Chris Brookes tucked the ring apron over his face. I've never seen that before. I thought it was really good. They stole a couple of moves from one another, and yeah, like the ref bump with the baking tray thing, and TK Cooper, like say, he came out and sort of even the odds a little bit. And yeah, it was pretty good fun. What were your thoughts on the match itself?
Yeah, it was quite sort of chaotic at times. Yeah, like you said, it's a bit weird because you've got sort of CCK, South Pacific Power Trip, and sort of Travis Banks is kind of a member of both groups. You know, if there's some other indie shows, sort of he'll be with Chris Brookes in CCK. Obviously in Progress we know him with EK Cooper and Dahlia Black, so I think he was a bit torn at first. Maybe the idea was to get Chris Brookes to act like he did, so Banks didn't hold anything back. You know, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it was. I've liked seeing Chris Brookes as a singles competitor. I think he's got a lot more to offer than he does when he's in a tag team.
I mean, I hate to agree with you, really, but I think you're right. I think Brookes is probably the star of the team. I think he has a lot more upside as a singles competitor than Lykos does.
Lykos is sort of too. He does a lot of sort of high risk flippy stuff, but nothing really of any substance.
And he's made of glass.
Yeah, apparently so.
Yeah.
And he always shouts for the brainbuster, but I've never actually seen him hit one.
Oh, I've seen him hit it once. I have seen him, yes, and it was on a Progress show as well. 100%, he's hit one brainbuster.
Wow, okay.
I'll need to do my research, and I'll come back to you. I'll either send you a message or I'll tweet it or something like that. I'll tweet which Progress show Lykos hit the brainbuster, but he has done it, and it was surprising because I'm sure it was someone pretty big. I think it was like Zach Gibson or something he hit it on. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I'd like to see more of Brookes singles. You know, maybe Lykos could team up with, you know, someone else a bit smaller. So it's, I don't know, Lykos. I'd like to see Lykos and Banks together.
Yeah.
Just once to see how they do. I think that would be quite odd, but one of those odd pairings that works as well. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's this sort of combination of CCK that we see the least, really. So, yeah, I think it would be an interesting dynamic. Yeah, I think I agree with you. But yeah, so we had a little bit of play afterwards because TK Cooper's demanded the next shot at the belt. So we're seeing a little bit of fire from him because obviously he came out to sort of help Travis at the end, but then held onto the belt for a sec when he went to hand it to Travis. There was a little bit of a, TK held the ropes open for TK. Bloody hell. TK held the ropes for Travis to get through. That's what I'm trying to say. And, he didn't accept the offering. He jumped off the other side of the ring and, walked up to the back, kind of next to him. Anyway, weird. So we're seeing that match soon. It's an interesting little dynamic they've got going. I think obviously he said he's kind of part of both groups, and it's kind of interesting to see what they do with it. I don't think that this is going to end or culminate in Travis Banks losing the belt, but I don't see anything wrong with it at all.
He's had quite a few. Well, he pretty much defends it at every show.
Yeah. This was his fifth defence. His fifth title defence, because we had Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, Will Ospreay, and Mark Andrews, and then Chris Brookes. So TK will be his sixth. I don't think TK's ready to be the champion, but then I don't see who else they're building up to take the belt from him. So, except for fucking Jack Sexsmith.
Until Wembley and goes against whoever wins Super Strong Style.
Well, that's
the only way it's going to happen, really, I think.
But remember, that's still my prediction, was he gets the winner of Super Strong Style, who I did predict would be Jack Sexsmith.
Yeah, I think that's becoming more and more likely now.
Yeah. Well,
maybe not Sexsmith himself, but definitely whoever wins the tournament.
Yeah, I think on that depressing note, I think we've come to pretty much the end of the show. Is there anything else that you want to say before we sign off?
Not about progress, just that I've got a column on FPG News. Go and read it. It's basically just sort of what's happened in WWE and what I think. Spoiler alert, this week it was quite shit.
Yeah.
Raw 25 was not what it was made out to be.
Yeah. I can't see how they made a mess of that, but still they seem to have monumentally fucked it up. So well done. Well done, WWE. Well done. Like he said, go over to fpgnews.com, check out the articles there. It's launching properly on Royal Rumble night, but there is stuff going live already, so head across, check it all out, and like I say, let us know through Twitter what you think of the page, and follow it on Facebook, FPG News. Screaming for Progress on Facebook, Progress Scream on Twitter, Out After Dark 216, The Grimfish. That's a lot of social media to shill, isn't it? On that note, we will see you all in a couple of weeks' time for Chapter 62, and in the meantime, don't be a dick.